Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Concert Junkies, Rob and John. Oh, yeah.
And we're live. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I would. My name is Anthony White. I am the guitar player singer for the band Generation Landslide.
Well, thank you for coming. I'm going to start you off with a hard question here. I normally ask this question. I don't know. I mean, some people might be like, he's asking this fucking question again, but I'm going to anyway. What do you want to leave as your legacy, not musically, as a person?
I would probably say that I'm as true and honest as I possibly could be in all facets of my life. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Not really a game player or a liar or any of those other kind of things. I'm pretty down to earth and simple, and friendship would probably be. He was a good friend.
All right, so here's another lovely question here. You're stuck in a room, one song on repeat. What song would that be?
That's a real tough one. I think sometimes it depends on what day or what mood I'm in. That's tough. Could I narrow it down to one record?
That's fine. You can narrow it down to one record.
If I had to put it on repeat over and over and over, it would be Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough to do just the one song. That's like, if I was in the mood for Donnie Iris, I would pick, Aaliyah, because I love that song. Or if I was, but overall, as an album, as an entity, as one big thing, I could listen to it every day for probably the rest of it.
So, who started you into playing music? I know you started when you were a teenager.
I did. I actually started with a group of friends that were living in the neighborhood. I've never told this story actually before. When I was younger, I had neighbors to the left and neighbors to the right and neighbors across the street. And all three of those had sons. And one played the trumpet. The other one was a big Kiss fan. And the other one was just an overall music person as well. And I remember just every day just hearing something about music, about Led Zeppelin, Kiss, The Runaways, Thin Lizzy, Boston. I mean, just one thing after another. And I just went, wow, how cool would that be? And my earliest memories was mimicking Paul Stanley of Kiss with a tennis racket on my parents' roof. So that's where it all started and began, actually, for me.
Weren't you in a Kiss tribute band back in the day?
I was probably one of the first Kiss tribute bands out there, actually. We pretty much started the whole tribute. There was I believe at that time there was a Led Zeppelin one and maybe a Pink Floyd that everybody had heard of or were familiar with. But for the most part, that was really about it. And then we started the whole tribute scene, I guess you could say.
So your band was, what do you call it, at first, a cover band. So how was the transition from cover band for writing your own material? And I know you write all your lyrics and most of the drums and everything. So how does that, big melting pot work for you guys?
That transition actually was pretty easy. In my mind, in my eyes, I always loved the name since the very beginning. Whether it was a cover band or not, I always thought, wow, this would be a great name for a band. So transitioning it from covers to originals wasn't really that hard because I had already been in other original bands prior to that. So all I did was just, well, I want to do something different. I want to try this, try that. Need a name. Well, I love the name Generation Landslide, so for the most part, I took it. I mean, it had been in use with me for 20 years. You know, way back. But I just thought nobody's ever heard of it, and it's different, and let's try it.
So, Michael, I'm not. I mean, not that I really play much or anything, but if it's if the name of your band is in a song, is there any repercussions like copywriting or any of that if it's just the name?
I don't think so. There's a lot of bands that probably took different names from different songs and stuff. Like I was in a tribute band, a Kiss tribute band called Strutter, and that band is still around today. They're from Ohio, and they're still out playing gigs and so on and so forth. And people take names all the time of different song titles.
No, I was just wondering because I never knew if that was.
Yeah, not that I know, not that I've ever heard, really.
So, if you weren't playing music, what would you be doing with your life?
That's a good question too. I don't know. I really can't recall it any time ever of not playing music of some form. I started when I was a teenager, and now I'm all the way up in the age.
Yeah.
And still, of some way, shape, or form, still playing music. It's in my life every day, every week, every month, every year. It's just been part of my whole existence, really. To be honest.
Do you still have your first tennis racket?
No.
No.
I wish I did. At the time I had some really cool stuff. This is mid 70s, and I used to have some cool artifacts. The tennis racket was just a tennis racket, but in my room I used to have the original Alice Cooper Schools Out desk. Different stuff from different records back then that they used to put into things. So I used to collect all that stuff, but unfortunately I don't have the racket anymore.
Well, no, meaning with the record was meaning your first guitar.
God, I'm trying to think of my first guitar. I think that was a long time ago. I think it was a white Gibson Epiphone Les Paul.
Oh wow,
and
those are beautiful.
Yeah, and the thing is I got it from the guitar player who's in Cold Sweat, and when I got it, I was so happy and excited, and I took it on an airplane on a trip, and they lost it.
Oh my god!
And they, so they compensated the money, but at the same time, I lost the actual guitar. And then after that, I just started going down the pipeline like everybody else did. But I will never forget that original guitar that I had, and they paid me for it. But
it's not the same though.
It wasn't the same, but what can you do?
So if money was not an issue.
No,
I'm saying if money was not an issue.
Right.
What type of guitar would you buy right this second?
I would buy probably either a Gibson Explorer or a Hamer, similar to the Explorer. For some reason, I was fascinated with the body shape of an old Explorer. And at one point, I did have a 1976 white Gibson Explorer, the same one that Paul Stanley used in the Rock and Roll Over promo videos that they made. And I don't ask me why I ended up selling it. I was going through a bad Kiss phase, and I wanted to get rid of everything that had to do with Kiss. So I sold off all the outfits and boots and everything I had related to Kiss, and I ended up selling amps. And in that was an old 1976 white Gibson Explorer. So I would probably love to get one of those again.
So how many times have you seen Kiss live then?
Believe it or not that many. The first time I got to see them was Creatures of the Night. And the little story behind that is I got to meet them. But before I got to meet them, me and some friends were pretty close. And Paul Stanley, I don't know, he must have picked me out of the crowd or something. I don't know how he did it, but he took the Firehouse hat and he threw it right to me. And so I caught the Firehouse hat, 1983. I was like, wow, this is great. I finally get to see them. You know, he's one of my favorite all-time, you know, guys in music and everything. And I had the hat. Not even 2 minutes or so later, boom, just get tackled. And some guy, they had to pull this guy off and everything. And he takes the hat and as they're taking away, he goes, man, I'm so sorry. I've been following them around for the last week trying to get this hat. And I was bound and determined to get the hat. And I was like, wow, okay. That would have been the coolest story years later to tell Paul Stanley, because I got to know Paul and Gene and stuff like that through the Kiss thing. And that night when I got to meet them, I ended up saying, hey, I don't know if you remembered or recognized me. I said, you threw me the hat and I caught it. And some guy tackled me and took the hat. And he looked at me and he gave me a little smirk and a smile. And he goes, better luck next time.
Oh, wow.
So the funny part of that whole story is fast wind it from 83 to 91, 92 or whatever it was. And I became friends with those guys. And he didn't remember, but I had to tell him the story almost 10 years later. And he just looked at me and kind of shook his head and laughed or whatever, you know. But I thought it was really cool that I was actually able to tell him the story
Cool.
of how he threw me the hat. But anyway, I got off track.
No, that's cool. So if there was a chance for you to collab with Kiss, would you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But in my mind, it would have to be something old school, old style. You know, I'm one of those guys where, for a lot of the bands that I like them through a certain time in a certain period when I felt a lot of energy and a lot of excitement from them. There's several bands that I do that with. You know, Kiss is one of them. You know, I respect and appreciate everything they've done. But my lifeline to them kind of stops somewhere from the solo albums, you know.
Yeah. So out of all your catalog that you have right now, what was the hardest song to release emotionally?
I don't really think there is one, because most of the other bands that I was in, I helped co-write different songs. So some of the attachment wasn't as much. On the Generation Landslide record, I'm fond of all the songs on there, so there's not really one that sticks out to sit and go, oh God, if this one could, you know, because it means the most to me. They all mean something to me, but not so much that I would live and die for it, you know.
No, I know every song is pretty much everybody's baby when they're writing it, and
right.
So, Love and Pain. That was a very cool video for, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Where was that?
That was filmed out here in Las Vegas, actually. in a friend of mine's recording studio. We set up a shy, and then the actual part where I'm playing the guitar solo up on a roof is
Yeah.
at a good friend of mine's backyard Ramada area.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I like that one actually.
He was good. He came up to me in the couch, hugging me and stuff.
So what? Since you're in Vegas, what is your favorite thing to do out there?
Not much. I grew up here.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I grew up, left, and then I came back, and then I left again, and then I came back, and here I am again. So the excitement of Vegas to me is not like everybody else. The excitement of Vegas to me is more of a memory lane, nostalgic type of thing. You know, I don't know if you know anything that's going on out here. They're tearing down one of the old hotels, Tropicana, to make way for Major League Baseball. The Oakland A's are moving here, and they're tearing down an old hotel. Because that's part of my childhood growing up, you know.
Yeah.
The corporate life out here, I'm not a big fan of it. You know, I like all the old hotel casinos that used to be, and most of them are all gone. So that would be my thing that I used to really like to go up and down Las Vegas Boulevard, which is the strip with all the light hotels and stuff. So now I just kind of stay away from it.
I'm a big fan of Fremont.
Yeah, Fremont. Oddly enough, I used to think it was great, but I think they made it even better by having the roof over it and the zip line. And it's way more exciting downtown now than it used to be. But the strip is not the same. The other part of it is all not the same anymore. It's, you know, so I have mixed feelings about all of that.
So I know you're not too much into singers, but what are your 5 top bands that you enjoy the most?
5 top bands would be Grand Funk Railroad, Y&T, Sweet, Thin Lizzy, and Triumph.
I'm not going nowhere.
For me, just listing those 5 bands, anybody who knows anything about those 5 particular bands, all of the members, all the players, in my mind, are top quality, top notch. Meaning, you know, Thin Lizzy doesn't have a lead singer. Y&T doesn't have a lead singer. You know, Grand Funk Railroad didn't have a lead singer. You know, Triumph didn't have a lead singer. The only one that really had a lead singer was Sweet. But I liked a lot of the bands that had guitar players or bass players that sang. You know.
So pretty much as a collective of the bass player, the guitarist, the drummer. So I mean, and then the lead singer, but
right. But I would substitute it. I would have 2 guitar players, a bass player, and a drummer, or a drummer, a bass player, a guitar player, and a keyboard player. You know, I'm more of a 4-piece where everybody can sing and everybody can sing harmonies and just play. I'm just, it's nothing personal, but I always feel that when you have a lead singer, it does what it does. I'm not going to say that it doesn't. David Lee Roth's a great example. There's several of them that are great examples. They lead the band. Kiss is another one. You know, even though Paul Stanley could be considered the lead singer, 2 guitar players, a bass player, and a drummer. And everybody just collectively as a group presents, their product.
The 11th inning.
That's
Judge
what I
hit a
like.
home run. What did I say, Judge is going to hit a home run today?
If you could pick up, if you could pick your own super group, who would you choose?
Meaning each individual member to create the supergroup.
Yes.
That's a tough one. And the reason I think it's a tough one is because if I were to say Jimmy Page, the problem with that is that you would have to have a singer because he doesn't sing. So you'd have to have a singer play or sing in the band. So I would probably go with Mark Farner would be the guitar player singer. Dave Meniketti of Y&T would be the other guitar player singer. I would probably have Donnie Brewer from Grand Funk Railroad playing drums. And I don't know if I would have Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy play bass or not. But at the same time, it would be great because not only would you get a really good bass player, you'd have another person that can sing.
Yeah.
So, once again, I keep going back to the same thing. I'm just that kind of a person who likes that kind of a unit,
So I know you have a couple of shows coming up.
I do. I have actually it's the same weekend. The beginning of May they have in Columbia, Maryland, called the M3 Fest, and on Friday night they have a pre-party at this big brewery place. So Generation Landslide is playing Friday night at the pre-party, and then 2 days later on Sunday, Cinco de Mayo, Cold Sweat is playing the M3 Fest. So I'll be basically playing guitar on Friday night and then jumping onto drums on Sunday night. Or Sunday afternoon, probably, I think, when we're playing.
So do you like festivals better than intimate setting?
In the kitchen, brother, roll
I don't know.
I mean, it's different it's different dynamics, though.
It is. And it's a different look. It's a different atmosphere. But what's really great about that is, on the plus side, if you have something like that, you could be a lot more animated from a guitar player side or a drummer side. When I do a festival, I'm a lot more animated with my arm movements or sticks and different things when I play drums on that sense. But playing to a small theater, intimate, more type of a thing, people are more attentive and will listen more, so you really kind of have to, be spot on playing and singing and doing everything that you're doing in an intimate setting, which is still kind of cool too, actually. So I like a little of both, actually. Dog's really going at it now.
Yeah. So is there any festival or place, venue that you would love to play that you haven't yet?
Yeah, Madison Square Garden. Isn't that the legacy of every music guy for the last 40 years? So.
That or Red Rock.
Yeah, Red Rock would be great too. I mean, I've played different amphitheaters. Those are really cool. The essence of Madison Square Garden, just the hollow ground of everybody from the beginning of sure seems that way. So.
And I mean, and they do have. I mean, now Prudential as well. That's where
right.
So like it depends on, a lot is coming through there now.
So Colorado.
No, Prudential's in Newark, New Jersey.
Oh, that's right, New Jersey. Red Rock. I thought.
No, Red Rock is in Colorado.
Right. So then I thought that, and then when you mentioned, I said, wait a minute, that's back in New York or New Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So those are the like.
An arena is an arena in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been over 30 years since I played arenas. What was the opening act for the Ronnie James Dio tour, 1990, and we played some really cool places.
This is a very old question of mine. I'm going to ask anyway. You have your own green room and a now I can't think of what it's called. You pretty much have your own green room and you get whatever you want. A writer, yeah.
Yeah, there's no M&M, of course. Or green.
No?
Is it green or yellow?
Green or yellow M&Ms?
Yeah, that on purpose.
So like what would be on your list that you need to have before a show?
Oh, wow. Probably just basic stuff. Soda, water, fruit, just your basic tea, just your basic stuff. I'm not a big fan of, having all sorts of fancy things here and there and stuff. It really doesn't matter to me.
Since you've been in the business for over 20 years or so, do you have any advice for anybody that's coming up now?
Yeah. On the record, keep playing, keep trying, keep doing it. Don't ever give up. Don't give in. Off the record, music business isn't the same as it ever was anymore. So it's a lot tougher. It's just, the music part will always be there, in my heart and soul. And I will to learn an instrument, play an instrument, master an instrument. It's just trying to do the whole band thing and trying to get deals and being on the road and doing all the things that, happened in the 70s, 80s, and even in the 90s. A lot of that has kind of disappeared. So it's a little tougher to try to find a market, to play shows all the time and to, where's your old magazines? Where's Circus and Hit Parader and Cream Magazine? All of those where you see a band's ad, and go, oh my God, who's this band? Whoa, I got to check them out. Go down to Tower Records or some store and blah, blah. It's a totally different beast now. So, but the greatest thing ever. And I don't care what anybody says in front of 2 people or 50,000 people. Play greatest thing ever. So I would always encourage younger learn to play.
Do you think technology is helping or not helping at all?
What'd you say it was?
Do you think technology is helping or not helping at all?
Sometimes no. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have an iPod and I think it's the greatest thing ever. So I don't have to have a record collection or a 8-track collection or a cassette collection or any of that. And I have it all stored on one thing. I love that. It's great. But everything else turns into this. I don't even know the right words to put it. There's no warmth. There's no excitement. There's no feel anymore. Everything is just lined up, by the dots, by the notes, by the list, by the, technologies, whatever. Where are the old days where 4 guys just got into someone's, basement or parents' garage or something and just, bashed it out,
I mean, there are still basement shows here and there, but it's not like the same. It's not really.
Right.
And
now,
those are only invite only.
Exactly. The mass amount of people and stuff. All they hear is the stuff that people want them to hear. every grocery store, every commercial, everywhere you go, whether it's a pop artist or a boy band or a this thing or a that thing, it's this, shove, 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 shove. Oh, and then this is the latest whatever or something. I mean, where's the scene? Where's people following other people, other bands, and having this
Well,
band play with this band, and
well, hopefully right here they are.
that's yeah. I mean, that's the whole, and that brings me all the way back to the whole generation. The album that we did put out, I called it "Ruling the Street Scene," and the reason why I did, if anybody who purchased it would see the CD cover and the back and the inside and the booklet and all the things, I'm trying to bring back older school, older style again, where it's just four guys out on the street, set up your gear, just start jamming, just start playing, have fun and enjoy it. Not about a corporate, you know, puppet show or any other kind of, media controlled thing. So that's why I named it that, just to bring everything back to the streets, back to the basics of what being in a band is all about.
I don't want to date myself, but I remember just going to the CD shop, and when I first bought it, opening it, that smell and the artwork and everything that's involved. Now you just hit a button.
It's, I,
The art, I mean, the
yep,
artwork, not just the lyrics and everything, just the artwork behind it.
yep,
Even the little list of the lyrics on not every. I mean,
yep,
the booklets were just now it's pretty much.
streaming.
Yes, it's Facebook, it's YouTube, it's Twitch, it's what do you call it? Spotify, Apple. You just hit a
Right.
button and
And
you find the newest artist.
right, you put a picture up, say it's a male singer, or it's this band, or it's this girl, or this whatever. A little picture goes up, and that's all you get. That's it. You know, um, and that's even CDs too. With ours, I tried to do that in a CD form. Now we go further back. There was really great stuff. I mean, when you got a record and you opened it up and you just saw these great pictures, and then you opened up a sleeve and there was lyrics and there was credits and there was this and so much to look at and so much to just engage yourself to see what that was all about while you're listening to this. It was just, it's a forgotten time. And, so all I wanted to do was bring back the CD version of it, the booklet. When you get our CD, you look, there's
Give me a
pictures, there's
second.
lyrics, there's stories behind stuff, there's a centerfold type of thing. There's all this stuff that ties in
You don't get your way all the time, man.
with
You
the
can't
whole
see me
message of
either.
what I was trying to convey through
Yeah.
songs. So, and I'm going to keep doing that. Whether anybody
Yeah, I
cares,
see it. I don't know.
the next one will do the same thing.
It's
How
going
about we
back
take a break from
to
looking at things for Max tonight and enjoy tonight, and we go back at this tomorrow. It ain't going nowhere.
it's like going back to getting flyers and a staple gun to every
You don't
street
get it.
post.
All that
I
shit.
I would love for it to do that, because I was one of those people that were in Los Angeles stapling flyers to telephone poles and putting them on cars at concerts. To I was one of those, and those were great times. I would love for it
You
to
know
go
where you put the
that
scissor?
more of a
When you were cutting
groundswell,
things?
more of a movement again. But I don't know if people give it enough time anymore. Everybody makes up their mind in 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Oh, you got 2 minutes. Yeah, that's okay. Then they move on. They don't get, you don't get two songs. You don't get four songs. You don't get an EP. You don't get something to like let people figure out what this band's all about.
Well, no, I mean now it's just a numbers game.
Correct. That's all it is.
Whatever your Spotify is doing, whatever your Apple's doing, whatever your
Yep.
Instagram, your TikTok, everything, they just look at numbers. That's why they want a tree link to everything. They don't want anything else but.
Correct. Sad, actually, to be honest. But, hey, the younger people don't know what it was like back then. So how do they know? You know, they're used to it. They've grown up this way. They're familiar with that. They don't want to get to know an artist or a band like that. They just want to hear whatever it is they think they like, and then they just move on to the next thing. So,
Was it easy for you to adapt that way of posting every day, or
nope.
watching analytics and what do you call it, the numbers, and see where you have to do better here, less here, what you're up against? Like,
Nope.
it's all.
I don't like it at all. I just, I would rather go back to the days of having ads in magazines and a video on MTV, a billboard or something that gets people excited.
Really bad. I was
I don't want to sit there and have to
waiting for the
keep,
thing, and I was like,
you
wow,
know,
it's really
posting
bad.
every, 2 hours or every 10 hours and just keep, or people pass it by. I don't like that at all. But, unfortunately, this is
The society that we're in. You have, I
right.
mean,
Yep.
short, sweet, to the point.
Right. So
Attention span's not there no more.
right. You do what you got to do. So, I figured right out of the gate, when you listen to the Generation Landslide record, right out of the gate, first song, boom, whoa, what's this? Either you can't wait and put, you can't put a 2 or 3 or 4 songs down the line. You got to shoot that first one right off the top and then hit them with a second one. And then by the time they get to the third or fourth, maybe, okay, then maybe they start to settle in. And that's pretty much how I sequenced the record too, accordingly. So I'm not a big fan of it, but unfortunately that's, what you got to do.
Yeah, well, there's full-length albums, and then there's, what do you call it, one at a time, EPs.
Right. Correct.
And as I see and knowing you for a short period of time, I don't think you like EPs at all.
That's like the middle ground. You know what I mean? That would be like your middle ground to say, okay, do you do the whole record? Or do you do one song, or do you put 3 or 4? Funny this being the case, Cold Sweat just released our second record, March 29th. Finally, after 30 years, Cold Sweat put the second record out. And the funny thing about that is there's 10 songs on the record, but the first 4 are the new songs that were supposed to be for a second record 30 years ago. We had already had them recorded and they were mixed and everything was good and ready to go. We just couldn't do the whole record. That's ironically, here we are in 2024, a full CD comes out, but the first 4 are technically the EP, and then the other 6 are live songs that we did from the Monsters of Rock cruise when we were on that in 2020. So there's your whole, album, EP, maybe even the single. The first song on it is the single for the record. So it it's, I don't know.
The only reason, like, I mean, I love just to get the record, but I'm saying, in another standpoint, EP, you get them drawn in more. So you drop one in March, you wait till April to drop the next one, so it's like,
Correct.
Ooh, I want more, but if you drop it all together, it's okay.
Right.
I'm gonna listen to this 162 times, and it's gonna sit in my closet.
Right. There's a fine line of old school and new school. Back in the day, the days of Boston and Foreigner and REO Speedwagon and all of them, they would put a song out and they would let people sit with it for a minute, and then maybe they'd put a second one out and then put the record out, or put the record out second and then maybe a second single after that. So it was in succession of, a month, 2 months, 3 months and stuff like that. And that was the way it was back then, because then you could say, oh man, I got that already at home. And oh, look, in 3 months, they're coming here to play it, I don't know, wherever, blah, 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 blah. So you're all happy and excited. Well, now, if you do one song at a time, if you go see the band, you're only going to know, if you even like the band, you're only going to know one song. You're not even going to know the essence of what the whole band is about. So there's like a double-edged sword to have a song here and then wait a month or two and put another one out, and then wait another month or two, put another one out. I mean, when do you start playing gigs? You know, when do you start premiering the record or whatever it is that you have going on that includes those songs?
I mean, it's double-handed sword no matter how you play it.
Correct.
You know, supporting a tour with, say, album, or if you don't release the album, you can only play like 4 or 5 songs off that album, then play.
Oh, I forgot you were on the phone. I was playing. I was about to play a Yankee.
Your greatest hits,
podcast.
Not your greatest hits, but your
Just, and that brings it all the way back to the 50s. In the 50s, that's what they used to do. They used to have groups where they put a single out, and you'd be lucky if you had one song, maybe 2 songs. Now, if you went out, you had to play with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other bands, because all you could play was a few songs, because people didn't know your stuff, because you only had 1 or 2 songs available to them. And now it seems like they're trying to bring that back. But the problem is if you only know a band by just one song, isn't that the one-hit wonder thing that everybody talks about, of, you know, My Sharona to, you know, bands don't want to be known as that. You know, Jesse's Girl or whatever, you know.
No, I see what you're saying, because like everybody knows Jesse's Girl. Everybody knows My Sharona.
Right.
Do they know anything else off their records? Probably not.
Probably not. That's what I'm saying. That's the point of, you're going to bring that back to where you're only going to release just one single and then leave it alone and then hope you could do another one in another month or 2 or blah, blah, blah. I mean, you could. And that's what we did that. We started to do that. We released first song, did a video. We released the second song, did a video. Then we put the record out. And then a month or 2 after the record was out, we put the third. We put Love and Pain out, was the third one, with the video and stuff like that. And so trying to do it somehow to give more people, if people like the band and you go see the band, you're going to want to know at least more than one song. You know, it just, yeah, I only came to hear one song, and then most likely that would be your last song. So if the Knack played, they would play My Sharona as their last song. If Rick Springfield played, he'd play Jesse's Girl as his last song, because why would you play it early when nobody knows any of your other stuff? You see, it's like, so.
I mean, there are staple songs. So that would be their staple song to close out the night, or the encore, or whatever the case may be.
Right. But wouldn't it be great if people knew, you know, say in the case of Rick Springfield, you know, I've done everything for you. Okay, there's another one. Don't Talk to Strangers. There's another one. I mean, he had at least 3, 4, 5, you know, singles or songs that became stuff. But where do you play them? You know, you want to keep people moving through the whole set. So it's, I don't know. I wish I had the answer, but unfortunately, I'm just like you. I'm just trying to do the best I can and hope that, you know, something substantial comes of it.
Yeah. Musically, what was the best advice you ever given?
Don't follow the trend or fad. I remember when I first learned to play drums, I actually played drums from a friend of mine who was a year older than me, and his band used to rehearse at my parents' house. And every night I just go and sit and start messing with the drums. No lessons, no nothing. When he came in and found out, you know, and everything like that, you just keep going. This is what you did back in, you know, late 70s, early 80s, you know, and you supported everybody, and you learn from other people's licks, and you know, that's how you develop your stuff. Now you can
Yeah.
literally go on YouTube and type in
Oh,
something.
she got off.
Roll with the changes, REO Speedwagon guitar lesson,
Huh?
and there's
You said you
you
got
know
off.
people out there showing you exactly how to do it and stuff.
Exactly.
It's play by numbers, but my thing was be yourself. Don't think how to play and just play. That's it. The best you can.
All right, so this has been a topic that I've been seeing around everywhere, and I just want to know your view on this. Do you think it was easier? Well, not easier, but did you feel that there was more support of other bands when you were teenagers or growing into it than you see now?
Not really. I don't think it's the band's fault, if that makes any sense to you. In other words, the bands that my whole career and everything when I was younger to honest and everything I've done, even up to now, I really don't feel that it's the bands. I think it's the industry as a whole. Because there are some really, really good bands out there, and there's some really nice bands out there. But sometimes it's not really their fault. They're in the same situation that everybody else is in. So that's what can you say about it? I don't think any of the bands nowadays have too many egos, because I think they're struggling to get heard just the same as anybody else.
No, I just see a lot of stuff here and there, and I just didn't know if it was easier when you were growing up and playing that or people actually staying to watch your show or leaving right after they pack up and leave.
Right. No, I think it's still the same. I mean, we even did it when the times I was out on the road, and the bands that we opened up for and played with and stuff like that. We used to watch them all the time, because it was a fun time. It was exciting, and the bands were good, and the fans were good, and the people were good, and I know there's that around still now. Um, I know that when we do this M3 festival, this pre-party thing for Generation Landslide, there's 6 bands there that night, and I've heard some chatter here and there that people want to hear other bands. They not only want to come see us and hear us, but the other 5 bands as well, because who knows, they could discover something new too that they like. This is a good opportunity to get to see a lot more bands that are up and coming.
So you're opening the festival on that Friday. Are you going to be there Saturday as well, just hanging out, or you're just going to go home and come
No,
back for Sunday?
yeah, no, can't go home.
Well, I mean,
We,
not home because I know
yeah,
you're in Vegas, but
yeah, we'll play on Friday, and then after that, then Saturday we'll all just probably go and watch the other, the bands that are playing on Saturday. I mean, there's good bands on Saturday. I mean, Queensryche and Aldo Nova and all sorts of different bands on Saturday, and then we play on Sunday with Striper and Y&T and Brett Michaels, and so there's a lot of good bands, the whole weekend. So there's no sense of sitting in a hotel. You gotta support everybody else,
yeah,
of course.
it sounds like a very fun weekend.
Yeah, I think it'll be great, actually.
I'm going to ask you one last question and we're going to wrap this up. What is your messages for your fans?
Um, hmm. Ah, that's good. I would say um, you get what you pay for. Really, to be honest. For us, is we're down to earth. Um, we're street oriented. We're friendly. Um, no egos, no diva stuff. Straight ahead rock music. Um, that's pretty much what we are. We're pretty much from the street, and we want to stay in the street. We want everybody to hang out with us and have fun, and there's a lot of excitement, a lot of energy with this band, and have fun, great time, and think of the old days. That's what I try to say. Remember the old days.
So where can you be followed on every platform?
Pretty much just on. We have our videos on Generation Landslide YouTube channel. But pretty much Facebook. Facebook, if you go onto Generation Landslide onto our page and stuff, it pretty much gives you all the information to where to buy the CD, where we're playing, everything about the band. Everything is pretty much on that. We don't actually have a website because we were just don't have anybody to run it. We're we're not in our 20s anymore, with a lot of time on our hands until mom yells at us to come and eat dinner.
Yeah, those days are way over.
Right? They are.
So just as a reminder, guys, this is on Facebook, Concert Junkies Rob and John YouTube, Concert Junkies Rob and John YouTube. Twitch is just Concert Rob because they would not let me finish what I was saying, and I love when that happens. So please don't forget to share, subscribe, and all that lovely jazz that I'm supposed to say every video. But I would like to thank you again for coming out, and hopefully you have a blast in a few weeks, right?
Yep, about 3 weeks.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem. Have a great night.
Okay, you too. Thank you so much.